Customizing SQL Server reporting services. In this video, I'm going to talk about custom rendering extension that I had developed. So first, I'm going to talk about the problems itself and define in a little more detail about the problem itself. What were the limitations that we were facing, and what were possible solution. In the second step, I would actually describe the solution itself, what the solution entailed, and everything that came with it. And afterwards, I would touch upon implementation. That is, how did I deployed the solution, and at the very end, we'll actually do a walkthrough of the implemented solution. We had an SSRS report which was called patient summary that displayed patient's clinical data or the document stored in CDA format, which is a clinical document architecture format, and it is very much like XML. We needed to display different pertinent clinical information about the patient, such as problem list, vital signs, medications, allergies, etc. However, the SSRS report's design had to be frozen before it went out to the customer. So for each set of clinical information, we had a table X region showing data. If you could please take a look at the screenshot itself, you'd notice that we got different table X containing each different sections of the clinical data. Now, this design in a way turned out to be somewhat rigid, as we had no control as to which set of clinical data was present for a given patient and which were not in the stored clinical document. So in a way, the design was lacking fluency. Now, getting to the solution part of the thing, since the patient summary report was already in production and it was being used by different customers, I came up with an idea to actually give a hyperlink on the report, which when clicked upon would show the patient's clinical document in its entirety in a more appealing and user-friendly format. Now, under the hood, a custom rendering extension was being used. Clicking on the link would fetch the clinical document stored in the database, which is pretty much XML format, and apply style sheet on the fly to produce a nicely formatted HTML, giving us a tremendous amount of flexibility as to how to have the clinical document rendered, since it would be simply a matter of tweaking of the style sheet file itself, the XSL file which we uploaded on the report manager. For more information on the custom rendering extension of SQL Server reporting services, you may please visit at this website as well. After coding the custom rendering extension, which in this case I named it as CDA request renderer, I had to deploy the DLL in the bin directory of the SSRS server. It is shown in the screenshot itself. Now, once DLL was deployed, I needed to register the custom rendering extension in the config file of the SS server also. Here I could assign a default style sheet. In this case, I named it as fusion.xsl, which was to be deployed on report manager. Now let's do a test run, shall we? Okay, so the way we delivered SSRS reports was to actually embed them in ASP.NET Web application using report viewer control, like this. So in this case, we see the patient summary report, which is an SSRS report in this case. And here we can easily see that the different sections are being contained in their respective TableX region. So the entire design layout becomes kind of rigid. So that's the reason I had come up with the custom rendering extension. Now the DLL was copied into the bin folder of the reporting server in here, and the config files of the reporting server was modified, as well as the security policy files were modified, where I had to add entries for the custom rendering extension DLL. Once this was done, I also had to upload the style sheet file along with the RDL or the report file on the report server. See here, this is the fusion.xsl. That's the style sheet document, and these are the RDLs or the reports themselves. So now if we click on this link here, it actually opens the entire clinical document in a nicely HTML formatted window. So see here, the rendering extension is being mentioned here by its call, how it's being called from the reporting server. And at getting back at the layout of the document itself, it's highly customizable. In this case, we came up with a table of contents and with the hyperlinks that would actually make navigation easy, and the sections were made expandable and collapsible. So you see here, it's a huge improvement over what we had. And so the customers were actually very satisfied with the solution, and it helped the company also. I thank you for your time, and thank you very much. If you have any questions or comments, please do email me at this email address, the one that you see on the screen. Thank you very much.